Oh, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess. And would it be weird if I spoon fed you oatmeal while we sat in your car? Asking for a friend. So, I am scrolling YouTube as you do, looking for something to watch, and Randy's WSG strikes again. Randy! So he pops up with an open tag, and it's your best knife purchases and worst knife purchases for 2023. And so I kind of had to dig around a little bit to find some stuff that hasn't shown up over and over and over again in like the last week here, just because I've kind of been bouncing through some of the same stuff, going through the budget bangers under $20, the top 10 under 100, all that stuff. So we're going to take a look at some kind of different stuff that either hasn't been seen in a little while or hasn't been seen in a while. But I could go on again about the Devo Growler V2. That is one of the best knife purchases of 2023. You guys have seen it about a million times now. You know what it is. But one of the other ones is definitely the Cold Steel Frenzy. And, again, I saw this thing. We had a small clone of this come in on Temu. It was like a 70% scale clone. And someone pointed out that it was a clone because I had no idea. So I went and researched it and found this thing and had to buy it. So I saved up for a good few weeks and I got it. This is another Cold Steel pocket sword. Let's flick the bean. And this thing is absolutely fantastic. This thing has a severe case of anorexia. It don't weigh hardly nothing. And a big part of that is the steel inside the frame ends here. There is no steel past the triad lock. This is all G10 and the machine screws here. So it's really, really, really lightweight for a pocket sword. It's ridiculous. And I have carried this at work for more than a week and, perfectly comfortable tucked in the waistband going down the right hand hip. It amazed me how good it is, but the Cold Steel Luzon, the big Luzon, also carried very comfortably. But it was heavier than this. This was really a joy to carry and a joy to use. It's got that Cold Steel factory edge, ridiculously sharp. Like, it is a fantastic, fantastic pocket sword. Ooh, I failed the bean flick on that, guys. I'm so sad. Let's flick the bean again. That was a slow one. But, this is the Cold Steel factory edge that, is part of why I paid for it, but like cutting water. It's ridiculous. So, and this is one of the things I was happiest to buy. And this is, I found this, and this is, kind of right on the heels, buying this is right on the heels of seeing the Cold Steel Frenzy for the first time. And I can't afford the Frenzy by a long shot, or the Mayhem, sorry. I can't afford the Mayhem by a long shot, but I could get this, and honestly, I'm really happy I got it. S35VN, all the good things, and I don't necessarily like having to close a knife with two hands. But for a Cold Steel, especially on that triad lock, I will make an exception because the durability on these things is nuts. So that is definitely one of my best purchases for 2023. The other one is going to be the CRKT Van Hoy Snapfire. And I know I showed this a while ago with the CRKT video I did, but this is just one of the best things I bought myself ever. I love my weird openers. I love my weird knife designs. And this is kind of peaking at weird knives that are affordable for me. You start finding weirder stuff like this. You're getting into custom stuff that guys make for themselves, what they want to make, and then sell it to whoever's interested. And they get real expensive real fast. But this was a little over $100, and I had to buy it used because these got discontinued a long time ago. And a lot of people that bought them sent them back because they couldn't figure out how to open and close them. And I had to watch a video to figure it out. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you have to learn how to open and close a knife, there better be a good reason for it. And for me personally, this is the best kind of reason. You press down on this circle right here, and you might be able to see it. That is your lock. The circle presses down, and then it opens, and it locks with that circle too. And you have a safety here that you can engage to keep this thing from closing on you, because it's not the most durable lock in the world. You can accidentally close it pressing down on the blade here. It pushes the wheel down just enough to disengage the lock, so you do have that safety to watch out for yourself. But you're never going to need that. This is not a hard use knife. This is a display knife. This is a light use. This is show it to your friend's knife. And I know what it is. I will still carry it and use it because that's the kind of guy I am. But this thing is phenomenal. And for one of the weird CRKTs, it's also able to be carried. The Van Hoy snap lock. Nope. The lugs that you use to turn the blade around sideways hang up on everything, so you can't really get it into and out of your pocket or waistband easily or comfortably. Total showpiece. The dactyl. No clip on it at all. So, I can't carry it when I'm doing my thing. This thing, however, carries pretty damn comfortably. The pocket clip on it is actually pretty good. There's no discomfort with this thing. The scales look like they'd be uncomfortable, but they're not. The frame looks like it'd be uncomfortable. It's not. It's actually surprisingly comfortable on the hand. They got that right. And the fidget factor on this is through the roof. This right here, this wheel, if you have someone in the room with you that doesn't like hearing, stuff click open and close nonstop, that noise drives them nuts. And if you're not a knife person, I can see why it would, And honestly, the only time that clicking, opening, and closed is good is when you're the one doing it. So, take that as for what you will. But, if you want to fidget with it silently, you can just sit here and roll this wheel. It spins freely. And, I swear to God, I love these wheels so much. Just the colors on them, just how weird they look. I mean, I am absolutely in love with this thing. And I've said it before. I really wish to God CRKT would get back to doing weird stuff like this. But these are two of my best purchases for 2023. And two of my worst. Now, worst, we are not dipping into the Temu stash. Like, that is its own separate beast. We're keeping Temu's name out of our mouths. So, we're not going there, but I have two. One of them was just a bad knife overall. Just terrible. And the other one was just a huge disappointment. So, the really bad knife is the Smith & Wesson that we got for the first season of the Super Budget Showdown. And when this thing showed up, it had a ton of problems. Like, everything on it was just not fit up right. The blade wasn't really centered that well. The flipper tab on it didn't really work worth a crap. And there was no detent, like, hardly at all. And I ended up taking this thing apart and messing with it to get the detent to work a little better. And I worked on the pivot screws and all that. And it took too much work for a knife that is essentially a piece of junk. I don't like knives from gun manufacturers because they just slap their name on the worst stuff and send it out. And it's a shame. Looking at what Harbor Freight has done both with the Gordon knife and the Icon knife, gun companies could do this. They could make stuff like that, make high quality stuff and put their name on it. And if they had a really good one come out, it would turn into a meme knife pretty much instantly, and it would, basically turn their whole knife thing around. But they're not selling knives. They're selling branded merchandise that's knife-shaped. It's a completely different beast. So this thing was bad out of the box. I managed to get it kind of working, the way a knife would, but I still just don't like it. I don't like the fact I had to put that much work into it. And, I mean, functionally, once you got past all the issues that were baked into this thing, it still worked as a knife. It's got a decent edge from the factory and all that, but dear God, this was last place on the Super Budget Showdown for a good reason. It earned that 10th place. The other one I have is just the biggest disappointment that I've gotten this year. And that's going to be this Sativian, and I don't remember the model number off the top of my head. It might be ST155, but I've said it a million times. I love my pocket cleavers. I do, but this one was so badly executed. So the blade weighs a ton. Normally not a problem, but since it's got the front flipper and the back flipper, if you flip this and you can't get your finger out of the way fast enough, it gets smashed right here, and it is incredibly painful. Like, it really hurts. Yeah, ST155. But, even looking past that, the front flipper that's built onto it, it's really hard to reach, and it's really hard to actuate because the detent's really stiff. I got a good one on that one, but it's kind of a 50-50 shot whether I'm going to get it right on the first try. And even looking past those things, because it's still a reasonably cool design. I wish this and this would have been designed better so much. The blade is absolutely cool as hell. It's aggressive. It's really, really out there. And I really love the way it looks. And honestly, with this flipper hole, or, the thumb hole, it looks like a dragon's head. And the other problem, that thumb hole, useless. Like, trying to get in here and actuate that thing easily, that's very, very hard to do. Again, very stiff detent, very heavy blade, very small thumb hole, and there's next to no clearance when it's shut. Like, I can't even get my thumbnail under there. And it's just so many things were just badly executed on this thing. And going from the pictures, I was absolutely in love with this thing. And when I carry this thing, it's got ergos designed into it that should fit comfortably. Like, it's got these spots right here that, kind of dip in so that, you know, rubbing against your thigh or something like that, it's a bit more comfortable. And in my waistband, it hot spotted like crazy. This thing was severely uncomfortable to have in the waistband. Eventually, I broke down and moved a bunch of stuff around and kept it in my pocket for the rest of the last day I carried it. There, it was no problem outside of being heavy in that department, but in my waistband, super uncomfortable. So, like, there's so many things I love about this design, and you know, it's pretty much purely aesthetic. You know, it's got a good factory edge. It's a Sativian, so they come out of the box pretty good and sharp. Uh, there's a piece of paper I just did. But, you know, let's flick this thing, try to flick it safely. You know, it still scares me because my fingers gotten smashed in there so hard a bunch of times. You know, it's got a great edge. Like, it had a lot going for it before I bought it, and it had a lot going for it before I carried it. And it's like a 14C 28M blade, too. It was like, I think it was $35. Might have been 40. But like so much going for it, but it's just the parts that needed to be right were executed just badly enough to make this thing not worth my time to carry. Other people might have better luck with it. You know, people that are used to this kind of really overbuilt front flipper and back flipper design. I still don't feel comfortable trying to get my finger out of the way because a lot of times when I'm doing a flipper tab, I like to just kind of rest my finger right here and let the blade open. So I have to be very conscious of what I'm doing to get it out of the way. You know, it's not my natural state of opening things. So, you know, this thing it's just a huge disappointment. You know, I could go on complaining about this, but it's going to be the same complaints over and over again. Just, they got so much wrong with this, and I wanted to love it. You know, the rest of my Sativians, I love those, but this one, swing and a miss. So, you know, that's kind of my best knives of 2023 that aren't ones you've seen a million times recently. And these are the worst. Just the worst knife I've bought overall that's not from Temu, and the most disappointing one. And, you know, just, it is what it is. You know, sometimes you buy bad knives, and I do like the fact this open tag is showing bad knives. You know, I'd love for more people to do videos of the knives that they regret buying, the ones they're disappointed by. You know, and like I've done a couple videos about that, and I know it seems like you're just griping to be griping, but it's interesting to see what other people regret buying, because it might be something that you'd have no problem using. It's just an interesting subject that doesn't get covered as often as I'd like it to. So that's kind of some rambling. That's my thoughts on all this. You know, I don't feel great right now, so this might not have been the best take in the world, but we're going with it. So, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, thank you, man. More guys are showing up. I appreciate it so much. I am so grateful. Comments, I love the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.